My name is Tim, not Michael. Michael is sick, unfortunately, so I had to step in. I'm one of the co-founders of Callirius, and Callirius, if you don't know us yet, Callirius is actually a company which was founded with a target to bridge the gap between climate projects on the one hand side and companies that want to invest and do more in climate projects on the other side. And I think we've heard a lot about this today already, and we don't have to go into detail too much, but there is various reasons why companies have become more climate responsible over the last years. And obviously, there is still these companies around that have their climate neutrality claims, selling carbon neutral milk. We as a company, by the way, we would strongly advise not to do this claim. But still, there's still, obviously, this is an argument. But there's a lot of other reasons. And I think this is also something to keep in mind, for example, with regard to internal stakeholders. Employees, for example, we see this a lot, that employees want to work for a responsible employer. So if you don't act as a climate responsible or nature responsible company, you will find it more difficult to attract talent. Your business partners will demand more climate responsibility. Investors are looking for companies that that handle their resources respectfully and responsibly. So there is a lot of reasons why companies have become more climate responsible, and obviously this is good. But the reality is that there is actually a big gap coming up. And I mean, we've heard a lot about the Science-Based Target Initiative today. Clearly, this is the most important measurements that any company that is climate responsible has to do. They need to take care of their own homework. They need to reduce emissions internally. They need to reduce emissions in their value chain. But that said, and I think Stefan said this in the last talk also, it will not be enough because not every company will be able to reduce their carbon emissions to zero over a foreseeable time frame. And therefore, estimates are between 2 and 8 gigatons actually per year, and that we need to do on top, which is not coming sort of like from reduction, internal reduction, but which needs to come from investments into climate projects. And this could be, we've heard undo today, from enhanced rock weathering. This can come from afforestation projects. So there's different ways. But what is the same for all of these projects is that they need investment, and they need a large time from the start of the project until the full potential of these projects is actually coming to fruition. And that is actually what we can see here on this slide, is that there is a big gap opening up from the years 2030 onwards, and we need to act now, and companies need to act now, because otherwise it's simply too late. Because just a simple example: if you have an afforestation project, you will put the trees into the ground today. After 2 years, these trees have not sequestered a lot of carbon. I mean, they're very, very small plants still, and the carbon sequestration potential is growing exponentially, at least for some time. So we need large run-up times before this actually results into carbon sequestration. And it's estimated that until 2050, we need to put a total investment of $1.6 trillion additionally into carbon projects in order to make the 1.5 degree targets. You can drill this down and make it a bit broader also, not only focusing on carbon. I mean, there's more. Nature as itself has also a value, obviously. And there is a number estimated that we need about 600 to 800 trillion annually for restoring and enhancing nature, and specifically biodiversity. Now, the question is, now we have companies on the one hand side that are obviously becoming more responsible, that want to do something. They see that they need to do something, but they're not doing it, or at least they're not doing enough. And if you look at the news over the last 12 months or so, I mean, it's actually no wonder that companies are hesitant to do something, especially with such large periods ahead of them, because there's a lot of risks. I mean, things can go wrong. There can be you can choose a project partner that goes bankrupt after a couple of years. You can invest into a project which is not delivering the carbon impact that you have actually expected it to deliver. Standards might change. Political decisions might make some of the projects not look great anymore. There is court rulings such as we have had in the last year or so, that suddenly you cannot call yourself carbon neutral anymore, even if you have high quality removal projects as offsets. And yeah, so overall there is a lot of risks, and the companies, especially in the current environment, they are hesitating to take this risk because also, I mean, they don't have the internal resources, and this is absolutely normal because this carbon and carbon credits is basically just a small, very important part of the ESG department. But I'm sure, I mean, you know all this much better than I do, but there is so much more work to do. And this is such a specific topic that it's absolutely difficult to stay on top of everything. And this is actually where we as Callirius step in. What we are bringing to the market is actually a fund solution. And this fund solution will make it possible for companies, when we're mainly targeting companies in the first step, to invest into a diversified portfolio of nature-based, high-integrity, optimized for price portfolio of carbon removal projects, which are aligned with SBTi, so that you can invest today and use them for your SBTi targets, for example, in 10 years' time. So basically, the idea is you spend today, you secure yourself the prices of today, because I think most people agree that over time prices for projects will tend to go up, because areas where you can put forest, for example, on the ground are becoming more scarce, etc. Now, as I said, I mean, there's a lot of risk. So I think what is most important is that you invest, and we as a company, we do this then for the fund, that you have a strong quality framework in place. Because the last thing we all want is to do something good and then be in the papers being accused of greenwashing. And therefore, we are very strongly focused on quality of our projects, and we have developed a quality framework, which is basically a 3-step approach. So we look at the country first, and then we exclude some countries which we do not find fitting. We look at the standards and programs in second step, and then we look specifically on a project level. What is important to say here is that this is we are not just accepting that a project, because it is Verra certified, is high quality. I think that this is the reality which everybody has learned over the last couple of months. You cannot simply rely on an external verification body, because there is still some methodologies, I would say, which are not fulfilling the quality criteria that we have. And how we do this, you might ask, we're a small team. We have in our project and policy department, we have currently 5 people. So we start with an automated data gathering tool. So we filter sort of like our first filter is automated. Then we have standardized due diligence forms, which we send out to the project developers. They answer these questions. We get back to them. We go into the concrete project due diligence. And once the project is up and running, we do not stop there. We continue with, and this is done by partners, by the way, we continue with DMRV and continuous project monitoring. And in the end, everything goes into the Callirius portfolio. No, this is sort of like this is the fund. It's not live yet. It's supposed to be launched in the first quarter of 2024. Basically, what does this bring to the company? So basically, it helps companies to invest. Despite it's a smaller amount in a diversified portfolio. If you want to do this on your own, you need at least 10 to 15 projects in order to have the right diversification in your portfolio. And by the way, it's not enough to just look at sort of like if a project is good. It also needs to be financially viable, because it doesn't. I mean, it can be a great product, but if it's calculated in the wrong way and there is strong cost overruns, if the company that has done the contract with you goes bankrupt after a couple of years, this will not deliver you any carbon credits over time. So, and this is, I think, for us as a company, we are actually founded by a group of bankers. We have added, obviously, the climate knowledge by adding more people. This is obviously something which we bring to the table, which is something pretty unique. What we have in this portfolio also is maturity transformation. So you can invest today, but most companies will not need offsets today, but because of their targets, they know already today that they will need high quality carbon credits maybe in 10 years' time. And the issue is, yes, whatever you do today, you take a risk, but doing nothing, you're also taking a risk, because you might be able to buy high quality carbon products today for maybe $20, but this is unlikely to be the price in 10 or 20 years. So that said, this is basically our solution for this project, for this problem. And I mean, we're happy to discuss it further in the roundtable sessions, which are, I think, about to start just now. And thank you very much for your attention.